episode of Geek Shop. I'm Chetan. With me is Chris. Say hello, Chris.
Hello, Chris.
So, Chris, what are we talking about?
We're talking today about publishers and more sort of personally is like, would you or have you ever sent stuff off to a publisher, particularly your own work? Like not necessarily like, you applied to be a Superman artist or you showed your portfolio at a convention, but like, have you ever taken like TikTok Tom and said, I wonder if Fantagraphics would publish this?
No, no, I've never done that. I remember years ago, Patrick Poutler and I did a series, book called Max Mooncrater, and I remember we sent some of it off to Image, if I remember. We never heard
Okay.
back. But mind you, I mean, nothing against Patrick. I think we weren't ready at that time. I think we were I think we needed to, now at an older age, looking back on it, saying we should have spent more time on it and, polished it up more and had a more of a plot and stuff. But I remember we sent that off to Image.
Okay.
And after that, I mean, I have shown my work to, you know, editors and stuff like that. That's another, thing we could talk about down the road some other time. But as for, let's say, my comic TikTok Tom or anything like that, no. How about you?
Would you ever?
Would I? I thought about it. I thought about it. It's one of those things where, years ago, yes, I was thinking about it a lot doing that because years ago and up to, let's say, even the last 5 years, it would have been a good option to try it because, printing cost, delivery, shipping, minimum print runs and stuff, it was just too expensive to do.
Yeah.
But not nowadays, honestly, I think only way you want to get a publisher is to get the exposure, not for printing purposes.
Yeah. Well, I think it's the thing that they have is distribution centers. Like
That's
they have
it. Yeah.
contacts with distribution, so they can
Yes.
get you into the like the guides and the whatever. I forget what Diamond used to have back in the day. They used to have that magazine that would come out with all the
Yeah, the
upcoming
previous
issues.
magazine. Yeah.
Yeah. So like that would be I think the main reason, and just sort of get you out there a little bit.
Now, what
And
about you? Have you sent anything?
no, I mean Blue Orchid's kind of young. Like I'm only on drawing issue 4. And so I just don't think that there's enough material there to pitch it, but I would, and I'm thinking about it. I'm actually thinking about sending it to a few publishers just to see. I'm actually thinking about because I'm doing issue 4, which is the first. So 1 through 4 is the first volume,
Yes.
and I'm thinking about seeing if anybody wants to print the graphic novel instead of me.
Now, if you don't mind me asking, do you have any publishers in mind, and would you want to talk about that?
I mean, there's the obvious ones like Fantagraphics and um, Image. Because Image is sort of going the route of Fantagraphics lately, where they're sort of going a little bit weirder. Um, there's what's the other publishing company, the one that does the children's books? They do Bone.
IDW?
No,
No, Boom?
no, they do Bone. Scholastic
Oh,
also is in
yes,
my head.
yes, yes.
Scholastic, but IDW is another one that I might like. I'd go for the big ones and see if anybody's interested, and if they're not, it'd sort of be like, well, okay, and then but I don't know. There's also this trend I've seen a little bit online of there's like distribution helpers for indie comics.
I heard about that. I wonder how that works now.
So it's sort of like it's almost like a group promotion thing, I think, where they
Yeah,
sort of get a bunch of indie writers and
publisher,
artists,
writers, yeah.
and then they sort of make things already, and then they sort of take their work and sort of get them to comic book shops. Like that, their only job
Yes,
is
that's it.
basically playing
Yeah.
the middleman. And you have to provide the books still. You have to send them to the people, but they sort of,
See,
I think,
and that's the big problem right now, even now compared to, even like the old days is, me living in Canada, Chris, where you're at in Tunisia, uh problem with me is, and this is where the biggest problem is, let's say I have my books and a distribution deal works out and I have to send 100 books to the US. That's a
yeah,
big shipping charges, you know, and that right now, again, since COVID, shipping rates have been ridiculously high. Now, the only thing one thing good is because I using Amazon right now to print, I could directly print it and ship it to,
Yeah.
from Amazon to that person and let them
Yeah.
sort it out. So that's not a bad idea. But if it's directly me getting the physical copies and shipping them out, that's going to increase the cover price so much.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what their deal is. Like I haven't really researched it much because I've been focusing just on getting my issues out right now. But now that I'm finishing up issue four and thinking about putting together the volume, I'm thinking about possibly, um, like I said, basically sending those volumes out and being like, does anybody want to publish
Now,
this?
now here's a question again, which I don't know anyone who does distribution like that or anything like that, or you know, I mean, there are creators that I follow and talk to that have stuff done by Image and stuff like that. Nowadays, you have to be extra careful on the contracts because now everyone's looking for that big book that's going to turn into a TV show or a movie.
Yeah, but I think a lot of those places you own the
No, no, you
characters.
you own it, but I wonder, on how much rights do they have, percentage, on what, again, that's where you have to do your own research and find out. And
Yep.
because, compared to 20, 30 years ago, where people were pitching books and stuff, all they were looking at was, hey, I want to get the books in the stores. Now it's not
Yeah.
even that, a lot of creators are not even thinking that. A lot of them are just saying, hey, I want the book out there so someone will pick it up for a TV show.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the one rule that I've always heard is if somebody's charging you to do it, just walk away.
Yes.
Like, so if they want a percentage, that's reasonable. That's totally reasonable.
That's it. Yes.
But it's like, yeah, how much and everything depends on what you want to do with it and all that. But the one thing
So,
I heard about Stephen King talks about this a lot, how he licenses his books for very little amounts of money because he says that often the movie will actually sell him books and then he makes everything on the books.
oh, really?
Yeah, so apparently, like independent filmmakers can do a Stephen King film if you can prove that you're actually going to make it. And I think he'll sell you the rights for $1. And but basically, he just looks at it and goes, "You'll never own." Like he owns the books, and every time a movie comes out, he sells like
These millions of copies. Yeah,
millions of copies, and he makes a huge percentage on the books.
that's it. Even if you're making, let's say, $1 a book. Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas,
Yeah,
in movies, like the percentages you make are fractions of a dollar for
that's
each
it.
ticket
Yeah.
sold.
Yeah.
Even for the best of people, it's that. So like the nice thing is if you can use it as a promotion material for your books, then who cares?
Now, question for you, like, for public, sending books to a publisher and stuff like that, how would you work it out? Would you work it out as a graphic novel, or would you say you're a four-issue series? Would you
Probably graphic novel.
graphic novel? Okay.
That's what I'm thinking. That's how I'm thinking of putting it together. Is a graphic novel that I'm planning on doing a three-part at least graphic novel at
Reason
this
I
point.
asked is, the individual floppy books are still, still out there. People are still buying those, but on the other hand, the graphic novel, manga, trade paperback style is, hugely popular now.
I've looked around at a few publishers, and very few of them say they want to buy comics. Many of them say they want to buy graphic novels.
Oh, really? That's okay. That's something I didn't know, which is,
Yeah.
yeah.
So that's generally the way that people because if you're selling floppies, you're basically like, I'm just going to sell to comic book shops mainly. But if you do graphic novels, then you've got the entire bookstore market and even online, like there's enough content. And also the
Yeah.
thing about a graphic novel is like, particularly for a younger artist, like, and I've talked to like literary agents about this. And the first thing they say is, if you go to a literary agent and you say, I want to do a comic book, they're going to say, call me when you have it. Because
See, yeah.
enough people go up to them and be like, I want to do a comic. And then a year later, like, well, have you done anything? Like, and so you have to really go
Yes,
there.
I didn't even think about that. That's a good point because as soon as you say a comic, he or she at the other end is thinking 24 pages minimum. And who knows when that person's going to produce the first issue, second issue, third issue, fourth issue. Where I won't, when you say graphic novel, you're committed to finish start to end.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you're committed, but you have to have it done. Like, and
No,
even
no, you're
like,
committed. Yeah. But on the other end, the person, literary agent, he or she will think this person's committed because as soon as they say a graphic novel, you know, they're gonna set a story in mind, art style in mind, and something, and have something concrete. Even if it's, let's say 100-page book, they'll most likely they'll have, at least 20, 30 pages on the go before they even approach you.
no, most literary agents I know will not approach you until you have 100 pages done.
Oh, really? Really?
Yeah, yeah. They're like, we want to see the book. Like, if you don't have it,
Oh, that's good to know. I didn't even, okay. See,
like
that's
they
something
don't.
I didn't know.
If you're a young artist, like if you've produced a few things and they know you
Yes.
can do it, the if you have a good storyline, they might let you in if they know you. If they know you can do it and you'll do it in a timely manner. But if they don't know you, have a
Yeah.
finished book done, or else they're not going to bother because
And I
and they'll
think
ask you
what
how long it took.
And
And
I think what the problem with floppies is, and this is again, talking about mainstream companies, issue one will come out, two will come out, issue three will come out 6 months later because the writer or the artist got lazy, you know,
lazy, or maybe one that the writer left, and so the
or
artist
something
has to
like
find
that.
a new
Yeah,
writer. Like,
that's it. And
yeah,
and you've seen delays in floppies all the time. I mean, well, a perfect example is Dark Knight, where it took what, a year. Dark Knight, the second version of Dark Knight or whatever it was called.
yeah,
I think it took a year in between issues.
yeah. I think from what I don't know if this is with all comics, but I know with television, like I used to do development for television, and studios would not talk to you unless you had the first season written, like ready to go, not finished animated. You had to have a pilot, like a short version of the animation. They were okay with that, but you had to have the entire thing done. And some studios, depending on who you were, would then ask you, "What's the 100th episode going to look like?"
Yeah.
Because they
Wow.
want to know, where is this going? Like, if this thing picks up, like they'll be like, by that point, they know you've got a season and you're comfortable with it. But
And
then they're like, if this picks up, can we keep this going for a
I
hundred?
remember I remember when I years ago, I think it was late 90s. Marvel Comics was at a comic convention in Toronto. I did this TikTok Tom comic, and it was a collection of my story. A lot of it was mostly my stories and Tomio and other people. It was like a 80-page book. So I went up and just started talking to him, and he goes, "Do you do?" We started talking about comics. I showed him my thing, and he goes, "Wow!" He goes, "This is what I want to see: people who are committed into doing books." And he goes, and his reasoning was, I don't want to see 12 pages.
Yeah.
He goes, when I see this, he goes, I know you love this medium.
And when you talk about the business side of it, like I know guys who were great artists, amazing, but then deadline would come,
Yeah, yeah, lot
nothing
of
shows
yeah.
up.
That's
And
it.
then it's
Yeah,
like, then you see like mediocre guys who are like always hit the deadline and they're working.
yeah. But that's what companies want to see because you know what? Why should they invest all this money unless you're, you know, someone like, Frank Miller, you're gonna wait a year for him. Frank Miller doesn't care, but and DC's gonna wait a year, but Chris
Yeah.
Stewart or me, no, they're not gonna wait. You know,
And you know what? They'll wait for Frank Miller for a year once, twice, maybe three times. And then they'll
yeah.
be like,
Then after that, yeah, it's like no. But that's a good point. I've learned a lot from you today on some of this because I didn't know literary agents wanted certain type of, want to see, completed books, wanted, you know,
I mean, it doesn't have to be the
yeah,
perfect, like for sometimes like with novels and stuff like that, they don't need your finished total version, but they want to see that you have like a 300-page novel
yeah.
there to sell.
Or even as
And
a comic artist, if you thumbnailed all your 300 pages, and showed it to them, then did your artwork for, let's say, 100, at least they know you work, your mindset's, already thinking on it. So, the think process is going and stuff, and now you're just drawing it.
for the most part though, they want to see like they want to be able to go like, I want to. If you hand them something, they want to go. I want to be able to go sell this today.
Today.
And if you're an
Yes,
unknown
that's it.
artist, they're going to want the finished product. They want something that they can literally put on the stands tomorrow.
So, so we talked about we haven't technically really approached publishers or agents and stuff like that. What's your recommendation on anyone watching this here? What advice would you give them to pitch your ideas, or not even as individual as an artist or a writer, but complete products?
And I mean, the one thing is work hard and expect failure. People are going to reject you.
That's common. I mean, you could submit it to 20 publishers or 20, and all 20 will reject you. Keep,
Yeah.
the key thing is keep at it. That's it.
Yeah. I mean, McFarlane was legendary for it. Didn't you get like a zillion rejections? Like he basically started going when he was a kid and applied and applied and applied and applied and applied and applied and applied, and just hundreds of rejections. And one of the great bits of like thing I get, one of the great bits of inspiration I get from rejection in anything, because is well, I mean, like I said, I used to do that television development. We used to get rejected all the time, and this is from a studio that was well known. But one of the things I saw was I went to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame once, and there was a wall, and the only thing on this wall was all the rejection letters that U2 got before their first album came out.
See, that's great. That's great.
And you think they got like hundreds of rejection letters, and they're just all
Yeah,
plastered on, and they kept them all,
that's
and they're like
great.
hundreds of rejection letters saying, "Yeah, we're not really sure you're going to work. Maybe this is," and it's like, this is U2. This ended up becoming one
Yeah,
of the biggest bands in the world.
world. Yeah, yeah.
And so I think about that, and I think, you sort of take it, and the beautiful thing about our situation is if nobody bought Blue Orchid, okay,
I think nowadays, again, what we just going back to the beginning of the episode is nowadays most people are not looking to get a publisher because, they're willing to get a publisher for the distribution and exposure, printing and all that stuff. They could do it on their own, print on demand and stuff. So I think it's a little bit different than, going back to 5 years ago.
yeah. Well, I think the exposure thing too, even Patreon is starting to switch that up a little bit.
Yes, it is. Patreon, Kickstarter, and all those things are, helping out social media when we're, you know, when
Although
we're
I'm
doing our
starting to feel like
comics.
it's starting to turn a little bit, where there's so much out there and it's so convoluted that it's actually getting harder to.
it there's a lot of crap out there. A lot of crap out there, a lot of good stuff also. Just find it, So personally on your end, me, I'm just right now just trying to do my own comic right now, and hopefully if this coming year get some stuff out there. But for you, you have a goal in mind to possibly get a publisher. We need to
Yep.
do a follow-up episode on that.
Sure. Well, I got to get issue 4 out first.
You're one of those people that promises something and that's coming out.
Well, I mean, I'm inking issue 4 right now, so it's coming out.
Sorry,
You
I'm
know,
gonna tell your wife to keep on you and say, hey, get that work done.
you'll never convince her to do more comic book stuff.
Okay,
So
so let's follow up on this once you get issue 4 finished and see how you're, you know, trying to get the book out there to publisher.
yeah, that sounds good.
Okay, thank you for watching and we'll see you next time.
Bye, everyone.